So now let's talk about concatenation. So what concatenation does is basically you take text that you manually create, and then what you want to do is you want to add variable values to that text. So hello username, or your total is the total amount for the bill, something like that. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about concatenation. Now, when you're dealing with Python, there's three ways to do concatenation. You can use the plus sign, you can use commas, or you can use something called an F string. Spoiler alert, we almost always use F strings here at Silicon Dojo, but there might be reasons to use pluses or commas depending on exactly what you're going to be doing. So basically, if you're going to be using pluses, what you do is you have the parentheses, and then you use a plus in between everything to basically glue it together. So we have output equals parentheses, and so this is our static text, so single quotation marks using a plus colon, and then we close, then we say plus, and then we do parentheses, the value of message, plus parentheses, the value of name. So that's the first way that you can do concatenation. When you do concatenation this way though, what's going to happen with these pluses is basically there's going to be no spaces in between. So as where this ends, this will begin. Where this ends, this will begin. So if you're going to be concatenating out something that might be like a long sentence, you will have to add things like single spaces in between to make it big, right? To make it look how it's supposed to. I'll show you that a little bit in an example. Then we have down here, we have the commas. So output equals using a comma, and the same thing as we had before, but then we have a comma in between, then we have message, comma, name. Right? So what this is going to do is it's going to concatenate too, but there's going to be a space. Wherever there is a comma, then it's going to add a space when it glues it all together. The easiest way to do things though is again something called the F string. What you do is you open up your string using the lowercase f, you have the single quotation marks, then you type in whatever your static text is using an F string, colon, then you use squiggly brackets, right? So basically you do squiggly bracket, whatever the variable name is, so the variable value will be substituted here. Then you would put however many spaces you want because you're literally typing this out how it will look on the screen, and then you put the next variable and that value will be put in. And so the nice thing with the F string here is you get to type out how this is supposed to look, and all the white space is maintained when it gets printed out on the screen. So here we are back in VS Code to give you an idea of how this will look using a script. So we have the variable name equals Bob, message equals hello. So basically we're just saying hello, Bob, or whatever the name is. Then we're having three different print functions. So we're going to print, and this is using the plus. So we open everything, open and close with the parentheses around everything, then parentheses around this, using a plus colon, we close the single quotation marks, plus message plus name. So we're going to get, this is how the string is going to get printed out using the pluses. We have basically the exact same thing, only we're using commas instead of pluses, and so when this gets printed out, these will get replaced by spaces. Then what you'll see, again, the easiest way to do concatenation is an F string. So we open and close all this within parentheses, F, single quotation mark, using an F string, colon, however many spaces we want, because this is all going to get maintained, then whatever the value of message is, and then whatever the value of name is, and that will get printed on the screen. So when you use pluses, basically the pluses get removed, everything gets sandwiched together. If you use the commas essentially get replaced by spaces, and when you use the F string, basically all of the white space as you've defined it will remain. So when we run this by hitting that little triangle up in the corner, this is what we'll see. So we'll see using a plus, hello Bob is all together. You'll notice there's no space there at all, right? Using a comma, hello space Bob. And then using an F string, hello Bob, and the white space is maintained. Again, the important thing to understand about the F string is no matter how many white spaces we put in here, they will be maintained. So again, if you really care about how this text is going to get outputted to make sure that the white space stays how it's supposed to be, you're going to be wanting to use that F string. So that's the idea behind concatenation. And if you haven't heard me say it before, F strings are generally the way to go. So you're going to be using this to print out messages onto that command line screen. You're going to be using this to input data or input things into something like a database. You might use this if you're going to be sending out text messages. Again, if you're going to be sending out mass text messages, you have the text message and you do hello, and again, variable name, text message, hello, variable name, text message, so on and so forth. And that's why concatenation is so important. And as you can see here, it's pretty easy to do.